You know that feeling, right? When you sit down to learn something new, maybe read a book or watch a documentary, and there's a part of your mind that just pushes back. It resists. Well, it turns out there's an ancient Buddhist text that has this incredible parable to explain exactly why we do that. So today, we're going to dive into a sutra called the Buddha's Horse Parable. It's this short but really powerful teaching that uses a simple analogy, an unruly horse, to reveal some pretty profound truths about our own human nature, especially our stubbornness when it comes to learning. And really, this is the big question the whole thing is built around. It's asking us to look at this animal, at its behavior, and see if we can recognize a little bit of ourselves. And, the answer is surprisingly spot on, even for today. Okay, so let's set the scene. We're going back over 2,000 years. The Buddha is in a garden with his students, and he's about to share a lesson on how the human mind works. But here's the cool part. Instead of jumping into some abstract, complicated ideas, he starts with something everybody there would have known and understood: the behavior of a difficult horse being hooked up to a cart. It's just a brilliant way to ground a really deep lesson in everyday life. So, the Buddha kicks things off by pointing out 8 specific bad traits of this horse. These are the different ways it fights back against being guided. And as you're about to see, they might feel surprisingly familiar. First up, we see these immediate, almost physical reactions. The second it feels just a little bit of freedom, boom, it tries to run. When the harness gets close, it gets aggressive, it rears up, trying to break free, and it even attacks the very cart it's supposed to be pulling. These are just acts of pure instinctual defiance. But then the behavior kinda shifts. It gets more stubborn, almost passive-aggressive, you could say. Instead of just bolting forward, it starts walking backward, or just drifting sideways off the path. It literally gets itself stuck in the mud and then just gives up. And in this final act of self-sabotage, it won't eat when food is offered, only to want it when the chance is gone. Okay, now here's where the parable turns into this powerful mirror for us. The Buddha draws a direct line from every single one of the horse's behaviors to our own patterns of resistance. And it's not just about being stubborn, right? A lot of the time, it's our ego just trying to protect itself, trying to avoid that discomfort that comes with real learning when we hear new ideas.
And this just brilliantly lays out the first 4 parallels. So, the horse bolting, that's like someone hearing a lesson is about to start and immediately thinking, I'm out of here. The horse trying to bite, that's us getting frustrated and angry when we don't get a concept right away. Rejecting the teaching is just like the horse rearing up, and insulting it, well, that's like kicking the cart. You attack the thing that's trying to carry the knowledge. It's a classic defense mechanism, isn't it? When a message is hard to hear, we attack the messenger.
Now this is where the parallels get even more subtle, and maybe even more relatable. Walking backward, that's like just giving up and walking out midway through something. Veering off the path, that's totally our tendency to get distracted, right? To start whispering to someone, to let our minds wander. It's all a way to avoid that uncomfortable feeling when a new idea challenges what we already believe. Getting stuck in the mud is like trying to find every little fault with the teaching, and when that doesn't work, maybe even twisting the truth. And that last one, refusing food, that's us ignoring wisdom when things are good, only to desperately search for it when a crisis hits, and by then, it might be too late. So what's the big takeaway here? The point of this whole parable isn't to judge us. It's more like a diagnostic tool. It's a way for us to actually observe our own minds with clarity and without beating ourselves up about it. And then, the Buddha wraps up the teaching with this incredibly powerful and direct statement. There's no ambiguity there. He makes it crystal clear that this story about a horse is actually a story about us, about the patterns we all fall into when our ego feels threatened by learning and growth. And that leaves us with this final, really provocative question. This ancient story, it's not just a story, it's a mirror. It's asking us to reflect. In our meetings, in our classes, in our conversations with friends and family, when do we bite the harness? When do we kick the cart or steer ourselves right into the mud? Because recognizing these deep-seated patterns, that's always the first step to actually being able to change them.